We have Sarah back. She was with us at the first SLP Creative Con. And honestly, like one of our biggest pod courses, I think a lot of people had questions about social media, and social media can just be daunting, I feel like, to a lot of people. So, Sarah, thank you so much for coming back again.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, we changed the title of this one and like the whole theme of this presentation. So anybody that's a VIP will get access to last year's course, but this is going to be completely new information as well because Sarah's Instagram, social media in general is always evolving, and Sarah does a really good job of like staying on top of those trends.
Yeah, I also I was trying to think of what the title for this should be because it's there's a lot packed into it. And my friend Lauren was like, it really goes beyond. And I was like, Buzz Lightyear to Instagram and beyond.
I love that. That's why it's really good to have a friend as a copywriter.
Yes, yes. They say she's my personal word wizard.
That's amazing. I love that. I have a personal word wizard too, Kim, who used to be on the podcast and has been kind of making appearances here and there. She's also a copywriter too. So, yes, everyone needs one in their life.
Absolutely.
So, like Sarah mentioned, this is called To Instagram and Beyond, how social media fits into your marketing strategy. And here's our agenda for today. So, we are going to talk about some brief introductions and give our bios. Then, we'll talk about how not all social media is marketing, which I'm really interested to hear all about that and what you mean by that. And then, how social media is the funnel filler, not the whole funnel. Oh, and I feel like funnels could be a whole conversation in and of itself, right? And then where do I start? And then how to automate the funnel so that you can get back to your business. And then we'll wrap up with some references and closing remarks. Sarah, do you want to come on and introduce yourself first?
Yeah. Um, so I'm Sarah Breshears. I'm a speech language pathologist. And if you've hung out on Instagram in the SLP world for the last 10 years or so, you might know me as Short and Sweet Speech. That was my first um, I think it was my first entrepreneurial adventure. And through that, I really learned how to harness the power of social media to grow a brand and grow a business. And so that led to me being the creator and founder of Social Moguls. Um, I am a social media strategist with a passion for teaching, connecting, and empowering my clients. I think, as SLPs, we help our clients find their voices and amplify their desires and preferences and thoughts and feelings. And really, as a social media strategist, I get to do the exact same thing for the brands that we work with. Um, I'm an introverted extrovert and I love connecting the healthcare community through Sip and Social. It's a networking community that I have co-founded. And I'm also very passionate about increasing the awareness of the incredible work of SLPs. I think that that is the coolest part of what I get to do. I feel like I've been given a giant megaphone and the opportunity to just share the SLP gospel with the world and really just be as loud as we can to make everyone as aware as we can of the awesome work that we do. I'm a Floridian, a Frenchy mom, and a Friends fanatic. I'm also a traveler, a scuba diver, and an oral care advocate.
I love that so much. And like full disclosure, Sarah and I have been working together since SLP Creative Con, I guess, right? Like we started working
Yeah.
together shortly after that. And I've been to her Sip and Social. It was amazing. It was like 3 minutes from my house. And we've done ads, we've done social media marketing, and I've learned so much from you. And I couldn't think of anybody better to talk about social media, but especially in regards to the speech and language pathologist community. So I'm really happy that you're here, Sarah, because you have such a passion for it. But like you said, you also have such a passion for just like amplifying the voices of other SLPs. And you get
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. 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 That is one thing that I hear from pretty much every client that we've worked with is, we've worked with other marketing agencies, we've worked with other people on social media, but if they don't understand SLPs and what we do, then it doesn't work. And so it really is like, I like get emotional sometimes talking about just like it really is the greatest honor to get to just spread awareness and like help everyone's message be heard.
Amazing. I love that so much. Well, I will
Yeah.
share my bio. I'm an AAC consultant and early intervention therapist. I'm on a mission to help SLP stop reinventing the wheel and connect with other professionals through the Speechy Side Up podcast. I have a very small private practice, which I am trying to grow currently. That helps to support caregivers in becoming confident communication partners. And when I'm not being an SLP, I love hanging out with my 3-year-old daughter, my husband, and my one doggy. I guess I didn't change this bio. I was noticing this one was a little bit different than the ones I've been reading. But yes, we are down to one now. My 15-and-a-half-year-old passed away back in October, but she was like the best. She was our first fur baby for sure.
Mm.
I'll read my financial disclosures first. So I have ownership interest in Speechy Side Up LLC and Tassel Learning LLC, and I'm an affiliate for Simple Practice and Meaningful Speech and receive commission for any sales made with my code. I'm also a member of ASHA, and I mentioned that we've worked together. I don't know if I need to mention that, but we'll just put that out there. And then Sarah, can you share yours as well?
Yes, I realized that I left one off of here though. Um, so I'm the owner of Social Moguls and Short and Sweet Speech. I'm also co-owner of Concierge Marketing. Um, I receive compensation from these platforms as well as for this talk. Um, I'm also the author of Short and Sweet Stories. I receive royalties for that. And I also am an affiliate for Tassel. Um, which I did not write on here, but full disclosure, if I share with you and you use my link, I'm an affiliate. And then I'm a member of ASHA.
Perfect. And I actually got your short and sweet stories book from Amazon and like started introducing it to my daughter. I love that like every story is related to like a phonics sound, right? I'm sure you did that for like
Mhm.
articulation purposes and like to target other types of skills. But so we're working on like the phonics stuff right now. So it's been helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome. I love that. You'll have to send me pictures.
I will. I've been meaning to. I've like just forgot. All right. So here's our learning outcomes. We hope that by the end of this pod course, you'll be able to describe the difference between social media and social media marketing. Describe the marketing funnel. So give us like um 3 steps of the marketing funnel. List 3 components to starting with a basic funnel and list 3 tools to automate a funnel. All right, so let's talk about what you mean when you say not all social media is marketing.
Yeah. So, one thing again that I hear from a lot of clients is, oh, like I had my receptionist doing our social media, or like my niece is a Gen Zer, so like I had her doing it. Um, and a lot of people know how to use social media. A lot of people know how to um, make a reel even, or a TikTok, or make a carousel even on Canva, or maybe in your notes app that you screenshot. A lot of people know how to use social media. Um, but that doesn't mean that you know how to use it strategically for business. And so the key there, the thing that makes the difference is the strategy. And I I see people, trying to promote their business and trying to grow their business online, and they're sharing all about their offer, and maybe they're even sharing educational content, but there's no strategy behind it. We're just thinking like, oh, well, I need to post today. I haven't posted in 3 days. I need to post something, and creating something that it's relevant, but there's no strategy behind it. We're not thinking about what is the intention of this piece and how is it going to move people through the buyer's awareness journey, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Um, but if there's not a planned out, methodically, um, like psychologically driven strategy behind what you're creating, then it's kind of like you're backing up and you're going this way a little bit, and then you're backing up and then you're going this way a little bit, and you're backing up and you're going this way, but you're never actually making any progress to get where you want to go. And so that is one thing that anytime, we start with a new client, whether it's a coaching client or a management client, that is where we start. And we do a deep dive into, first of all, who is your brand, but also who are you speaking to? Who is that ideal client that you're speaking to, that you're best suited to serve? And using those two pieces, we create a strategy that meets them where they are and gets them to where we want them to go, which is being a loyal customer client for you. And so that strategy is like your compass, that's your guide for everything that you create. And so without that, if you're creating maybe some like funny reels, and maybe you're creating some educational content, but you're not following a very intentional strategy, it takes a whole lot longer to get your people to where you want them to go, to be that loyal customer or client that's raving about you and telling their friends, and is ready to snatch up whatever the next thing is that you offer for them. So really
That
that strategy is so key.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you I'm sure you're going to talk about this, like how someone can develop a strategy and like what makes a good strategy and how do they stick to that strategy like in the long run over time?
So, oh, that is like a whole day
Mhm.
conversation. And I think, you said, how do you stick to the strategy over the long run? But I think a good strategy is built to evolve as you learn more, because the things that you know about your business today, you didn't know 6 months ago or even a year ago. Like, we continue to learn, your brand continues to evolve, your knowledge of who you're serving continues to grow. Um, I think that's one of the biggest light bulb moments that I love to see, is whenever people are like, "Oh yeah, I know who I'm serving," and they're like, "Well, I serve 0 to 3." And I'm like, uh-huh, you do in your clinic, in your therapy room, but that's not who you serve on social media. You're serving moms of 0 to 3 year olds. So what do we know about her? That's who we need to cater to. That's who we need to speak to. Um, so as you continue to learn more about who it is that you're serving, your strategy is going to evolve and it's going to change and it's going to be refined and it's going to get better. It's going to get more effective. But as far as a starting point, that is always my starting point, is who. And I know if you watched SLP Creative Con last year, you heard me talk about who, and that is like the hill that I will die on. Your who is the most important question that you can ask yourself. And whenever you create content that meets them where they are and helps move them through this process that we're going to talk about today, that is like the best place to start for creating a strategy. And your strategy should look at, you should have an overall marketing strategy that social media is one piece of. Um, but your social media strategy should look at, the who, but also the how. So what kind of content are you creating for them? How are you serving them? How are you showing up? As well as the where, depending on who you're serving, that will tell you where you should be showing up. Is it TikTok? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? Is it all of them? Is it LinkedIn? Um, and then I think, yeah, I think that's all my W8 questions. But yeah, always, always, always start with the who and let that guide everything else that you do.
That's great. Yeah. So with a strategy, I'm sure we're going to walk through one. Is a strategy the same as like a goal or like a couple of goals? Like, is it like writing a SMART goal or is it more in depth than that?
So your strategy really is like your compass to get you to your goal.
Okay.
So whenever we build out a strategy, we talk about what is our content strategy. What is our engagement strategy? What is our hashtag strategy? That is also something that should be very strategic and not just like random hashtags that you think of or generic hashtags that you might have seen other people using. Um, but yeah, your strategy should be your compass. It should be your guide. It should be like your playbook or your blueprint that tells you, okay, now we're ready to sit down and create content. Here's what we're going to create. Here's who we're speaking to. Here's the type of content, whether, that's static, a photo, a carousel, a reel, whatever format. Here's the topic that we're going to talk about, and here's the intention of this piece of content, because every piece of content should have an intention, whether that's to entertain, educate, empathize, inspire, or sell. Each piece of content should have an intention. And I can talk about, say, GLP comes to mind. So I can talk about GLP from an entertaining standpoint. I can make it light and sometimes the content that we or the topics that we talk about, it's hard to make them light. Um, I actually just brought on a client who she's a veterinarian and she does hospice care, and that's heavy. It's hard to make that light, but there are ways to make it lighter and more entertaining content. And sometimes it's poking fun at yourself. Um, and then, we can talk about that same topic from an educational standpoint and really share value in an educational way. We can talk about it from an empathetic standpoint and really show that, like, we see you, we understand you, we're with you. We can talk about it from an inspirational standpoint. And then the sales standpoint is, we know that you have this problem and here's the solution and we want to help you. We're here to serve you. Here's how we do that. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of like what a content strategy outlines, and it gives you the roadmap or like the blueprint that you need to be able to sit down and create content in a strategic way.
Gotcha. That's really helpful, and I'm excited to learn more about like how to develop a strategy. So is there anything else you wanted to cover here before we move on to the next one?
No, I think we covered it all.
Awesome. Oop, I went the other way. There we go. So what is the customer's awareness journey and how do we support them in that?
So, the customer's awareness journey is the different touch points that a customer will have, and the process of them going from completely unaware, they don't even know that they have a problem, to being fully aware. We know that we have a problem. We've identified a solution. We've identified a product that is that solution. And now we are fully aware. We're ready to make the purchase or enroll or whatever. We're ready to add to cart and check out. And so it's just the process that we all go through as we talk through this. Think about different purchases that you've made, different maybe, if you purchased a ticket to be here today, what was the process of going from I didn't know that I had this need to I'm here today. So everybody starts, and social media is a key to moving people through this journey, but it's not the only thing. So we're going to talk about other things other tools that we can use, other ways that we can reach people to move them through this journey.
I love that. And I love these
But
examples you gave. So are you gonna you'll walk us through this process, right?
yeah, yeah.
Great.
Um, so everybody starts unaware. We have, they have no knowledge of their problem, but they might be feeling the symptoms of their problem. So I'm going to use the example of if you have like a teaching toddlers to talk course, we'll say. So if you have a parent that they're noticing frustration from their child who's having difficulty communicating needs, wants, preferences, They might learn that they have a problem from social media. They might see a reel that says, did you know that at 2 years old, these are like the milestones we want your child to hit with their language. But they're not even aware that it is an issue yet. Um, they're starting to maybe see the frustration from their kiddo, but they haven't connected the dot yet to, oh, okay, that frustration is due to this issue. Um, so from there, they become problem aware. So now they're aware that there is a problem. Maybe they saw that post on social media, um, but they don't know that there is a solution yet. So they're realizing that their child should be talking, should be able to, communicate their basic needs, wants, preferences, protests, those functions of language. Um, but they're not sure where to start with helping them at home. So they're not ready to say, okay, let's go to therapy yet. Or maybe they've been told, like, you should just wait and see. Um, I think we've all encountered families that have been told that. So from problem aware, then they move to solution aware. So they understand their problem and they're interested in finding out how they can solve it. So they're finding different options available to them to help their child at home, like books, maybe toys that say that they promote language development. Maybe they're watching YouTube. They're seeing that there are some courses available for parents. They're looking to social media to learn more. So they're starting to discover what's available. Um, then we move to product aware. So they want to know about specific products, services, and what might work for them. So they're learning maybe about the benefits and the features of your course. So they're finding more information. This is kind of our like fact finder phase. So we're just gathering information, we're educating ourselves, we're learning more. And then whenever we move into fully aware, they are narrowing down options that fit their unique desires. They're going to have questions and they're going to have objectives. They're almost ready to purchase. Sometimes they need some answers to their questions. Sometimes they need to see that transformation of what can happen. So I always say, we're selling like the Disneyland vacation and the family memories that are made. We're not selling the plane ride. So show them that transformation of like, here's the final outcome that you're going to get. And sometimes they might need just a little incentive. They might need a little, whether that's like a bonus or a discount or something added that is going to make them say, okay, I already knew that I wanted this. You just gave me like the undeniable reason, like it's a no-brainer for me now. And so then they become your customer.
I love this. And who are we referencing for this one? Because I think we included in the references section, right?
Yes, this is Schwartz. This is
Okay.
Eugene Schwartz, that this was his original concept.
This is great. So where are SLPs meeting their like customer base in this awareness process? Is it throughout? Is it a specific one?
Yeah. So you're going to have people who discover you on social media at all different points in this
Okay.
journey. Um, and so whenever we talk about like those content intentions, the entertain, educate, empathize, inspire, and sell, those address all of these different points in the journey and help move people to the next one. Um, there's a direct correlation there. And so, again, it all goes back to your strategy. That's why having that strategy to start with is so important. Um, but yeah, you're going to find people are going to find you at all different points in their journey. So you want to have content that speaks to them at each one of these points.
I love that. I think that I remember when we were working together, we did like the educate, the sell, but I know we talked about this awareness, but I don't know that I correlated them there. You know how people like sometimes it sticks with you one way someone explains it versus another. Like this now it really makes like a lot of sense. And I feel like when you're writing a caption or doing a CTA, like knowing what the customer is aware of, it makes it easier to communicate that to them. Like, there's
Mhm.
the purpose of the
Yeah.
post to educate, but also I think a big shift for me from, like, the beginning of when I was starting on social media to now is, like, shifting my perspective completely, and even doing the podcast, like, shifting it completely to, like, what is the other person thinking or wondering? So, like, when I'm doing an interview,
Mhm.
the questions that I ask are, like, what could the listener possibly be wondering right now? Like, based on what that
Mhm.
my guest said, like, what could they be wondering? Like, what follow-up questions should I be asking? Same thing with social media. It was like, instead of talking about, like, as a type 3 achiever, like my achievements and like the things that I offer and like what I
Yeah.
can do for you, it was shifting to like, what is your problem and how can I help you?
Mhm.
How can I serve you better?
Yep. Yeah.
It's a big mindset
That
shift.
it is, and it completely changes the content that you're putting out.
Yeah.
Um, I have a lot of people who come to me and they're like, "Okay, I have this course that I want to put out like next month." And I'm like, "Cool. So have you started posting and like creating this unaware and problem aware and even solution aware content? Because you can't just dive right in and expect people to be fully aware. It's like dating. Like, you have to like meet them
Yeah.
before you can ask them to marry you. Like
So true.
you have to go on the first date before you're gonna meet their parents, or go on the second date before you get, I don't know, maybe you get engaged on the first date. I sure don't, but um it's all about just warming them up and creating the content that is going to walk them through this journey.
Yeah, no, I love that. This is like kind of a side note, but also like I don't know if this was the same for you when you started short and sweet speech, but when I started Speechy Side Up, I had no agenda. I wasn't selling anything at that time. I mean, I had the podcast, but the podcast was like free to listen to. I felt like it was super easy to grow because it was all serving. I don't know.
Hmm.
I mean, like, there was no strategy there. The only goal I had was probably to get to 10K because at the time, like, that was everybody's goal. But it was really
Yeah.
just to like provide value, provide value, provide value. So, yeah, I feel like it's a little bit hard nowadays for me personally to like balance that, right? With like my own mental health and like work situation and what is it like work life balance and making sure that I'm
Hmm.
providing enough value, but also like this is a business too. So it's a struggle for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Um, I love, if you follow Alex Hormozy, he up until very recently has never endorsed anything. He's never done an affiliate link. He's never been an influencer of any kind. I mean, he has just given massive, massive, massive value. And so whenever he put out his first book, it was like an instant bestseller. Whenever he put out his second book, it's like an instant bestseller. Now he's doing oh, I can't think of the name of it. It's like an affiliate thing. He's partnered with a company that he's promoting their stuff for them. And it's obviously a partnership, but um, he has built so much equity in his audience. He's given and given and given and given and given. And I mean, I always say lead with value, and he's a great example of that. And I think that that's something important to remember in your content too. A lot of people are like, well, I don't want to give my best stuff away. And even if you give your very best information away, you give like your hottest tips, like, so the different content intentions and this journey is one of the things that almost everyone who comes out of my course says, like, this changed the game for me. I had no idea. And like, it's okay to give it away because there's always more that you have to give. There's always more that you're going to come up with, that you're going to offer to people. There's always there's always more. Like that growth mindset, that non-scarcity mindset, there's always more. Um, and so yeah, leading with value like that, it it is huge. And even whenever you are selling stuff, that's why, not like making a plug here, but that's why my course is called Serving on Social System, because you should serve your audience before you ever try to sell anything. And even as you're selling, you can continue to serve, you can continue to provide value, you can continue to show empathy and create a community and a space that makes them feel seen and heard and understood. You can continue to entertain, like that's value of its own. But yeah, definitely leading with that value before ever making a pitch of any kind or offer of any kind. It will change the outcome of that offer.
Yeah, I love that. Such great points. And I love how you said like you can continue serving throughout selling. And that's definitely like
Mhm.
what we do. Like we believe in what we put out so much that like SLP seriously need it. And so we just try to communicate that like throughout the process. Like we're never picking something or like creating something because like we like it and nobody said they wanted it. Like people loved SLP Creative Con last time. We brought it back again. So I like that perspective that you're continuously serving and educating and entertaining throughout that process.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think that that's what keeps people around too. Um, I've seen on social media before where people like pop up every 4 months because they do a launch. And it's like, well, it's been a ghost town around here over the last 4 months since your last launch. So nobody's warmed up. You're not showing up on people's feeds. The algorithm is not showing your stuff to people because you haven't been here. So you have to continue to nurture people in between those like launch phases, or even if you don't do launches, if you do evergreen, if you continue to nurture people in between your sales posts, you just have to continue to deliver that value.
That amazing. All right. So let's talk about how social media is the funnel filler, not the whole funnel. What is a funnel, first of all?
Yes. So what the heck is a funnel and why do SLPs care? So if you have a business, if you have something to sell, you have a funnel, whether you know it or not. And so basically all the funnel is it's a um, visual metaphor, basically. Like if you take all of the people who are exposed to you, and those are at the top, that's going to be your biggest amount of people. And then if you take all of the people that buy from you, those are at the bottom, and it's going to be the smallest amount of people because not everyone is going to convert. Um, I could quote you conversion rates for different platforms and I would be totally wrong. But we know that your warmest people, your people who've had the most contact with you, the most interaction with you, those are going to be your people who are most likely to convert or buy what you have to sell. Um, so those are going to be the people at the bottom of your funnel. And that's where we want to get everyone to. Ideally, we want to nurture them all the way to the bottom so that they purchase. And on here, you can see that at the top, they're lurkers. And then at the bottom, they're loyalists. And that is truly like the transformation that you want to see. So this is just a visualization basically of the process of how you can move people through. You can see over on the right each point in the journey. So whenever they're unaware or becoming problem aware, they might have found you through social media or through paid ads. Maybe you were on their explore page, or maybe you were on their Reels feed and they found you. So to move them to a follower and to solution aware, you have to give them value. And sometimes the next step in giving them value is giving them a freebie. So we call that a lead magnet. And that's just, I have this free thing for you. Give me your email and I'll give it to you. That's the exchange. It might be a free trial. how many times have you done a free trial on an app that you saw on social media? I see them on Instagram and I click the install now all the time and I try it. And almost all of them start with a free trial. And then after a week or so, they move you, hopefully. Now you're fully product aware, or you're a product aware, you're fully aware. You've had the experience with them. You've had a lot of touch points with them with trying the app. So now they're going to say, okay, your week's up. It's time to pay up. We need the $50 for the next year, or $10 or whatever it is. So that's one example. But if you, so let's use the example of the like teaching toddlers to talk course. So maybe they find you through a paid ad, or they find let's say they find you through a reel, and then because you interacted, or because they interacted with your reel, now they're getting your paid ads. Hang
Like
on
the
the term.
algorithm, right? Like it's like you interacted with that
Yes.
reel, so then you're part of their like ecosystem now.
Yes.
Got
Yes. Um, oh, there's a term for that, and it's right there, and I can't get it.
it.
But so then they go to your profile and it says, download the free milestones guide for parents of toddlers. And they download your freebie, your lead magnet. Well, now you have their email. So you're going to nurture them through email. And nurtured is just really giving value and connecting and letting them get to know you. That's all that means. Um, so you're going to send them emails, and maybe they get 3, 4, 5 emails, and one of them sticks out to them, and they click over to your sales page and they read about your course. And maybe then they DM you because they have a question. Like maybe you offer live calls and they want to know when the live calls are, or they want to know if you have like a 30-day guarantee or something like that. Maybe they have more questions than what you can really answer in DMs. And so you say, hey, you know what? Let's chat. Like, here's a link to my calendar. You can pick a time and I'll get on the phone and answer whatever questions you have. Then from there, they're ready to go back to the sales page and make the purchase. And now they are fully aware. They are taking your course. They are having a great experience because you create very helpful, valuable content within your course and you really serve them. And now they're telling their mom friends about you. And so they have gone from a lurker who discovered you through a reel to a loyalist who's now referring people to you. And that is like the ideal journey that we want to take people down. So you can see though, like social media is the top and it's important. And I truly don't know how people do business without social media. Like, and that's not anything about me. I just don't know how they do it. Because it is the best way to capture the most people and bring them into your world. But we're not going from social media to checkout most of the time. At least for a lot of offers. You're not going to go directly from social media to like Stripe notifications that they've checked out. They have to hit some of these other points along the way. And I think because of just the sheer volume of content that people are exposed to every day, the number of touch points that they have to have is increasing. So it used to be like someone had to see your content 7 times before they were ready to make a purchase. And now, because they're just inundated with content over and over and over everywhere they go, their phone is always right here. It's now like 14 to 21 times that they have to see your content before they're ready to make the purchase. So that's why having all of these different touch points for them available is so important.
That's so interesting. So I was
And
listening to Jenna Kutcher's podcast, the Gold Digger podcast, and they were talking a lot about like chat automation, which I know we're going to get into. But she was talking about how like you can reduce those touch points so much quicker through automation. Like nobody has to, let's just give Instagram,
Mhm.
for example, like they don't even have to leave the app in order to eventually like buy. But what you're saying, like, I almost feel like in reality that sounds great, but like, does that actually convert? I'm not sure. She says it does, and it probably does. But does that make like loyalists and does that make like lifelong fans? Like, I know you're making it a lot easier for them to buy like quickly, but like some people impulse buy, right? So like, does that make them like a
Mhm.
loyalist in the end? It almost seems like sometimes having those touch points isn't a terrible thing because it shows that they're really interested. Like they're really investing their time. And by the time they finally make the purchase, like they're invested.
Mhm. So I think it can go both ways. I think you can, and I think the thing that really determines whether they become a loyalist and are ready to snatch up the next thing that you say, hey, I have this for sale, is what happens after the sale.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
like, because I've had people that, I followed on social media for the last 4 or 5 years, and I finally took one of their courses and I was deeply disappointed. And I was very sad because I was like, man, like I really, really look up to you and I love your content on social media, but like this course just ain't it. Like it didn't give me the transformation and I actually like finished the course. I mean, how many courses do I have that they're sitting in my course graveyard. But so there have been other courses that that person has put out that I'm like, "Ooh, that looks good," but I won't pay the price point for it that they asked because of my experience with the previous one.
Mm.
And then there are other people who, like, I've had a really great experience with on social media. I've learned so much from. I am part of their membership, and now, like, anything she releases, I'm like, deal, sign me up. Like, I want it. I don't even know what it is, and I want it.
That's awesome.
So I think that, yeah, I think that like the main thing is like, how do you deliver? And, again, what is the value? Do you over deliver? What is their experience like after they check out? Not just the product, but like, do you have like a email sequence that checks in with them and holds them accountable? Do you have a community where they can connect with other people who are on the same journey as them? Um, if they have like tech issues, do you have someone that can help them? Are you responding? And I'm not saying that this is easy by any means, because as a course creator, I know that like these are all demands on you as the business owner. And I think we're sold that, if you create digital products, if you create courses, you can have this like, I don't know, millionaire lifestyle where you're off on a yacht in the south of France and not working ever, So it is, it's still like more demand on you, but I think that that makes or breaks their experience and determines whether or not they become a loyalist and buy the next thing that you have to share with them.
No, it makes a lot of sense. It's like under promise, over deliver. But you're right. Like a lot of the
Mhm.
times we are putting out content and then it's like, okay, now like on to the next thing. But you're reemphasizing the need to like take the time, do that follow up
Mhm.
process. And yeah, it's really great information. So I wanted to ask you, like, what makes up social media? For anybody who's wondering, like, is it just Instagram or Facebook? Like, can you give all the platforms, like, where you're finding these lurkers? Because you were mentioning something here with social media as well. Or you were saying, like, it's amazing to me if someone doesn't have social media, but I think sometimes it's not just Instagram or Facebook. So, like, what else qualifies?
Oh yeah.
Like Google profile, does that
So,
qualify? You know what I mean?
oh, um, I wouldn't say that that counts as social media because that's not somewhere that someone is like going to hang out and like scroll on their phone. That's kind of like my very arbitrary, very made up, very like Sarah Breshears definition of social media.
But
A
if they're
thing,
like reading through your reviews, like if you have a lot of reviews on there, I get what you're saying that they're not like hanging there on a regular basis, but like
Mhm.
if let's say it's a private practice, for instance, and they are looking for private practices in their area, they find your Google profile, they see all of the reviews, they're reading through them, they can ask you questions. You can like post announcements now on Google profile. So I don't know, like I've
Mhm.
actually just been exploring this a lot more lately. And I think that's why it's on top of mind. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
like private practice coaches emphasize Google profile, but it's like, am I wasting time? Like, should I be spending time somewhere else, you know?
So I could see like Yelp or Google being put in here with social media and paid ads, but and I think that those are important to have, and like having those reviews is helpful. But I think what I'm seeing is that instead of Googling and instead of going to Yelp, people are going to Instagram, they're going to TikTok, they're going to Facebook. And I mean, if you think about your own like buyer behavior, I do this too. Like last night, my friend Lauren and I were going to dinner, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Concrete Jungle or do you want to go to Stillwater's Tavern? Here's their Instagrams."
Mm.
And I gave her both of those. And my favorite way to decide if it's somewhere that I want to go is not the content that the restaurant is posting, but I look at the content that they've been tagged in,
Mhm.
because that tells me what other people's experience has been. And that is kind of the same as like looking at a Google review or looking at a Yelp review. Um, Looking at anyone who's like mentioning them on TikTok or, using the hashtag on TikTok. Like, you're getting that, we call it social proof. You're getting that social proof. You're getting the experience of people who have been in your exact shoes and went to the restaurant or, went to the private practice and saw the therapist there. Um, so those are all like avenues that people can take to get the social proof that they're looking for. But I think just buyer behavior, we're seeing more and more and more people using Instagram and TikTok to find whatever it is that they're looking for. I mean, whenever I moved to St. Pete a year and a half ago, I needed a new hair person and a new nail person and new Botox and all of it. And so, I mean, I used Instagram. And I have a wonderful friend, Bailey, that lives here, and she sent me a lot of people that I could like have a better starting point than just everyone in St. Pete. But that's whenever she would say, oh, go to, I don't know, this nail place, I would go to their Instagram and look them up. So I think that the buyer behavior has just shifted. Um, and I'm sure it'll shift again.
Well, it's so true. It's so true. It's also a little concerning because I do think that a lot of parents are looking to social media for like evidence-based practice
Mhm,
and like authentic reviews and
mhm.
whatnot, but like we know not everything on social media is as it seems. So you can have a very pretty like Instagram, but might
Mhm.
not be the best therapist. It's interesting to say the least. And I'm wondering, like you said, like how that's going to unfold over the years. But I think you're absolutely right that that is where like parents are hanging out and getting their information right now. If we're talking about private practice
Yeah.
specifically, like in my case, pod courses, conferences, most of our audience is on like social media for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, again, going back to who, if you look at who it is that you're serving, then that tells you where you should be showing up. Um, so, if you're serving Gen Xers, they're more present on Facebook than anywhere else. If you're serving millennials, we're as a whole more present on Instagram than anywhere else. If you're Gen Zers, more present on TikTok than anywhere else. That's not to say that, I mean, I have accounts on all of those. My sister is a Gen Xer and she has accounts on all of those. My niece is a Gen Zer. She has accounts on all of them. But by and large, my sister is on Facebook more. I'm on Instagram. My niece is on TikTok. Um, so it just depends where your audience is, and then knowing that, you can show up and give them that social proof. You can share if you have video testimonials. Those are like one of the most powerful forms of social proof. If you have reviews from parents, you can put them into a graphic and share a little bit of their story. If you have, there's lots of different forms of social proof that you can use, but you can share that on whatever platform it is that your people are hanging out on.
Awesome. Those are great examples too. I think if anybody's like, okay, so what should I be showing? Those are some great tips. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where should SLPs start or other professionals start?
So, um, the first place that I would start is thinking of that visual of the funnel. You can outline yours and just say, okay, what does this look like for me? So you can create and implement one piece at each level of the funnel. So social media, and then you can have a lead magnet, your freebie. Then you can have your email, and then you have your website. So it doesn't have to be super complicated. You don't have to have 50 freebies. You don't have to have a super complex website. Um, just the basics will get you moving in the right direction. And it's always better to get set up with the basics and then build it out as you go. You can make it as comprehensive or intense or all encompassing as you want to, but just start with the basics. And it's always, always, always better to just take action and get started. So you have, in your outline, you have your funnel filler and then you have something to catch them. So our clients that we're most successful with social media, they have something to catch them. And so what that means is they have something set up to move them off of social media as quickly as possible. We want to move them to your website. We want to move them to your email list so that you can nurture them, because we know that the conversion from email is, I think it's like 5 times higher than it is if you have someone who's just on your social media, because you're showing up, like you're getting plopped into their inbox every day. Whereas, they may not get on social media for several days, and by the time they do, the content that you posted is gone. Its life cycle has completed. So having the funnel filler, which is your social media, and then having somewhere to send them where you can capture their email. And I'm going to show you examples of those here in just a second. And then
Okay.
you want to nurture them. You want to get to know, you want to let them get to know you. You want to continue to build your authority with them, build your connection with them. You want them to feel like that you are like their online best friend. And like, if you really want them to be a loyalist, you want to be I say their IG bestie.
Mhm.
Um, and then, and that's so important. I said, don't skip this because that really is so important. It's easy to be like, okay, got their email, I'm ready to sell. And like the nurture part is what makes the sale for you. And then sharing your offer. Also, don't skip this part.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to feel salesy, but like we talked about, there's a way to do it in a way that is serving them.
Awesome. This is great. Like, I think for getting anybody started and just realizing that like social media is a starting point, but getting them like off there as quickly as possible is a great tip. So, how do you
Yeah.
automate your social media and your business so that you can have like this funnel going?
Yeah. So this is all something that we share with clients whenever we first bring them on, and they're always like, I didn't sign up for this. I don't want to do all of this. Like, I just want to see my clients. I just want to,
Mhm.
get back to the business that I wanted to start to begin with. I didn't know all of this was included. So these are different tools that I use to automate the process for my business and for our clients so that you don't have to manually make this huge lift and put in all of these different touch points manually, and you can automate a lot of it. So mini chat is, if you've ever seen anyone say, comment link and I'll send you the link below. That's ManyChat. And so you comment this keyword and then it sends them the link, or you can use it to capture their email. You can use it to register them for events. You can even use it to deliver the freebie without ever leaving Instagram. And ManyChat, as of now, I think that they have some features that are on Facebook, but for the most part, it's all Instagram. And then Flowdesk is a way to automate email sequences. You can use it for freebie delivery. You can also sell digital products. We also had a Sip and Social recently that we sold the tickets to Sip and Social on Flowdesk, and it was super easy
Was
process.
it? I've always wanted to try that.
Yeah, it was very easy to set up. There's not always a ton of customization options, but if you're someone who like doesn't want to build your own website, it's a really great option.
Cool.
Yeah, and then Zapier. So Zapier basically makes apps and tools talk to one another. So I use Kajabi for my course, and I make Kajabi and Flowdesk talk to each other so that whenever someone purchases my course, then they automatically go into the course segment in Flowdesk, which then automatically sends them a welcome email with all of the links that they need. It also, let's see, I use it for like SLP Freebie Fest to where it makes Kajabi, once they fill out the form there, it adds them to a segment and sends them the link with all of the freebies. And then a few days later, it sends them another email with another freebie. And then a few days later, it sends them another email with more info. So you can automate, all of that and make it all talk to each other with Zapier.
These tools
So
are these tools are life changing. I love
yeah.
ManyChat. Like I use them on a daily basis, I would say. Flowdesk is like probably the least expensive option out there
Mhm.
and it just has what you need, it doesn't have all of like the fluff and you can have as many subscribers as possible. Like a lot of the providers, once you get to a certain subscriber count,
Mhm.
they charge you for that. It can become very, very expensive for a small business.
Yeah.
But Zapier, like, I can't believe more people haven't heard of this. I think all of them
Yeah.
take some time initially to set up, but then once you like take that time, like especially Zapier took me like a whole week one time to set up all of these workflows, but you never have to like think about it really again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just Flowdesk.
Unless you switch your website.
Yes, I
And
just
then I had
did
to reset it.
this. Oh my gosh. Did you have to do the whole Google verification through Flowdesk for your website recently?
I don't think I have had to do that.
Okay.
Maybe I did it before.
Yeah, maybe it like automatically did it. So yeah, it was such a hassle. I agree with you. If you change your website, it is very, very scary going back and like trying to fix everything. But for the most part, if you don't do that, it works really well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so nice. And I think that not only does it make your life easier, but it improves the customer's experience with your brand as well.
That's true. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think these tools make a process that might feel really overwhelming and daunting for someone who's new to this feel like, oh, okay, I can do this. I don't have to manually, go in and create the folder and add the files, and I don't have to manually send 15 emails, the setup process of Zapier, of Flowdesk, or of ManyChat, it takes a minute and there's a learning curve to it. But once you get it set up, you can go off on your yacht in the south of France.
Right? Exactly. So this is who you referenced earlier
Oh,
in regards to the awareness levels, right?
yes.
Awesome. And I can't believe like this is over. I honestly feel like we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but that's what serving on a social system is good for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if people want to like connect with you, are these the best places?
Yeah, so Instagram is where I spend most of my time on social media. And then you can always slide into my DMs there or send me an email. And then if you want to just creep around, you're welcome to go see my website.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. I'm so glad that you were back again to talk about automation. This was just incredible. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Good chat with you all day.